My girlfriend rolled her eyes and said, "You're not my dad. I don't need a curfew," after stumbling in at dawn. I didn't argue. I just nodded and said, "I know." The next night, she came home to find the door deadbolted, a note taped neatly to it. The note read, "The frantic knocking started about 20 minutes ago, echoing through the quiet apartment, each thud a hammer blow against my chest. My phone, silenced and ignored, is now a frantic strobe light on the counter, illuminating dozens of angry messages from the woman I once loved. The only light in my living room came from the cold, digital glow of my laptop screen, casting long shadows across the empty space where her things used to be. Outside, the pre-dawn chill was just beginning to give way to the first hint of morning, but here, inside, a storm was brewing, and I was at its eye. It was time to type this out, while the sting of it was still fresh. Ashley, 28, and I had been a unit for 2 years, living under this roof for the last 8 months. When she'd first moved in, it felt right. We talked for hours about boundaries, mutual respect, shared responsibilities, all the adult stuff that builds a future. She'd come from a chaotic roommate situation, girls who treated their place like a perpetual frat house. Ashley said she was ready for something more mature, something real. And for a while it was quiet nights in, cooking together, building a sanctuary. It was everything I thought I wanted. Then, about 2 months ago, her old roommate, Chloe, went through a messy breakup. Suddenly, Ashley was needed for emergency girls' nights out. I understood. We all need our friends, especially during tough times. But those emergency nights morphed into regular excursions. Twice a week became 4. Coming home at midnight became 2 a.m., then 4 a.m., and sometimes she didn't come home at all. My stomach would twist into knots every time the sun rose without her. Last weekend, that knot finally tightened into a noose. Friday night, she breezed out around 9 p.m. "Chloe needs me tonight, David. Don't wait up," I asked, my voice tight. "When will you be back?" She just shrugged. "Not sure. Late, probably." That was it. No texts. No calls. My calls went straight to voicemail, each unanswered ring fueling my anxiety. I dragged myself to bed around 3 a.m., my mind conjuring every possible worst-case scenario. Then, at 6:30 a.m., I woke to the unmistakable sound of someone fumbling with the door. She stumbled in, her shoes still on, makeup smeared, a hazy smile on her face. "Where were you?" I blurted out, the worry still raw in my voice. "I was worried sick." She just laughed, a short, dismissive puff of air. "God, you sound like my dad." My blood ran cold. "Your dad?" "Ashley, I texted you 5 times, called twice." My phone was blowing up. "Phone died," she mumbled, waving me off. "Chill." But as she tossed her purse onto the counter, her phone lit up with a new notification. It was clearly, unmistakably, not dead. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice even, rational. "Look, I'm not trying to control you. But living together, it means basic respect. A simple text to say you're safe. Some idea of when you'll be home. That's not too much to ask." That's when she said it. The words that still echo in my mind. She rolled her eyes so hard, I'm surprised they didn't fall out of her head. "You're not my father, David. I don't need a curfew. I'm a grown woman." I stared at her for a long moment, the fight draining out of me. My response was a quiet, almost defeated, "I know." She seemed genuinely surprised I didn't argue further. She leaned in, pecked my cheek, mumbled something about needing sleep, and then passed out on the couch, not stirring until 2 p.m. I spent Saturday in a haze, her words looping through my head. "You're not my father." She was right about one thing. I wasn't her father, but I was her landlord. "See this apartment? It's mine. Bought it 3 years ago when the market dipped, a smart investment." Her name wasn't on the lease, the mortgage, nothing. She sent me $800 a month for her half, which, honestly, didn't even cover a third of my actual costs. But I wanted to be fair. I wanted us to build something together. Saturday night, she went out again. Didn't even tell me this time. Just got dressed up in silence and left while I was in the shower. I found a hastily scribbled note on the counter. Out with Chloe. Don't be weird about it. That's when my decision solidified. Sunday morning, while she was still passed out, having finally stumbled home around 5 a.m., I went to the hardware store. Bought a deadbolt, the kind that only locks from the inside. Installed it myself, thanks to YouTube University. I even threw in one of those chain locks for extra security. Just in case. Sunday night, she left again, around 8 p.m. Crop top, miniskirt, the whole 9 yards. Going out with the girls, she chirped. I just nodded, a small, knowing smile playing on my lips. Have fun. The moment her Uber pulled away, I executed my plan. First, I deadbolt the door from the inside. Then, I added the chain lock, for good measure. Next, I typed up a note, short, concise, impactful, and taped it to the outside of the door. My overnight bag, already packed, was waiting by the back entrance. I grabbed it, slipped out the rear door, and drove straight to my buddy Michael's place. The note simply said, Ashley, you're absolutely right. I'm not your father, and you don't need a curfew. However, I am your landlord, and I do need a tenant who respects reasonable boundaries. Your belongings will be available for pickup Monday between 2 to 4 p.m. Text me to confirm the time. The guy who's not your father. I'm currently at Michael's, watching my phone explode. The knocking started about 4:30 a.m., according to my Ring camera footage. She tried her key, realized the deadbolt was engaged, then saw the note. The progression was almost poetic. Confusion, checking she had the right door, reading the note multiple times, angry knocking, angry texts, panicked calls, then truly furious texts, crying on my doorstep, and finally calling friends. It's now 6 a.m., and she's apparently still sitting against my door, alternating between heart-wrenching sobs and rage typing on her phone. Update 1. Monday afternoon. Holy hell, the entitlement came out in full force. After she spent 2 agonizing hours on my doorstep. Yeah, I watched it all on my Ring camera, a perverse sense of justice settling over me. She finally called an Uber back to Chloe's. That's when the real campaign began. First, the text barrage. I'll summarize because there were literally 127 messages. This is illegal. You can't just kick me out. I live there. Open the door right now. I'm calling the police. You're abusive. This is because I wouldn't sleep with you last week, isn't it? I'll sue you. My dad's a lawyer. He's an accountant. You can't lock me out of my home. The sheer desperation mixed with indignation was a sight to behold. Then came the social media assault. She posted on everything. When your abusive boyfriend illegally evicts you because you have friends. Hashtag domestic abuse. Hashtag need help. Hashtag homeless. She tagged me in it, too. Within an hour, her squad was all over it. Chloe, Brooke, Olivia, the whole crew. Toxic masculinity. Controlling behavior. Call the police, queen. Sue him for everything. But here's where she messed up. My ex from college, Sarah, is a property lawyer now. We're still friendly, grab coffee sometimes. She saw the post and DM'd me. Saw Ashley's post. Need legal advice. Me. Is what I did illegal? Sarah. Is her name on the lease? Me. No. She just lives there. Pays me some money monthly. Sarah. In writing? Me. Nope. Just Venmo me. Sarah. She's a month-to-month tenant at best, a guest at worst. You need to give proper notice for eviction in most places. But did you change the locks? Me. Nope. Just deadbolt from inside and left through the back exit. Her key still works. LOL. Sarah. That's not eviction. That's just not letting her in at 4 a.m. Technically gray area, but she'd have a hard time proving residency without paperwork. Want me to respond to her post? Me. Nah, I'm good. A wicked grin spread across my face. Monday at 1:45 p.m., she showed up for the pickup window, but not alone. She brought Chloe, Olivia, and some dude I'd never seen before, probably meant to intimidate me. Plus, her mom, Brenda, on FaceTime. Yeah, really. I met them outside with her stuff already in boxes by the door. I didn't let anyone in. David, this is ridiculous. Let me in my apartment. Ashley shrieked, her voice cracking. It's not your apartment, Ashley. Never was. My voice was calm, steady, and it infuriated her. Brenda's voice crackled from the phone, strained and accusatory. Young man, this is highly inappropriate. You can't just throw my daughter out. I'm not throwing her out, Brenda. I'm choosing not to renew our informal arrangement. The mystery dude, Kevin, stepped forward, trying to sound authoritative. Bro, just let her get her stuff, and we can talk about this like adults. Her stuff is right here, I said, gesturing to the stack of boxes. All packed. Ashley's eyes widened in horror. You went through my things? I packed what was yours. Left anything questionable in the boxes for you to sort. This is probably illegal. We should call the cops, she wailed. Please do, I said, my gaze unwavering. I'll show them the lease with only my name, the mortgage with only my name, and explain how she has no documentation proving residency. They backed down on that threat real quick. But then Ashley played what she thought was her ace. I've been paying rent, David. I have proof. I almost laughed. You've been contributing to household expenses as my girlfriend. We never signed anything. Those Venmo notes saying for food and stuff don't exactly scream tenant rights. This was true. She'd always been weird about putting rent in the notes. Said it felt too formal. Always wrote random things like for groceries or utilities and things. It worked in my favor now. Kevin started grudgingly loading boxes into the trunk of a car, while Ashley spiraled. Where am I supposed to go? She cried, genuine panic in her eyes. Not my father. Not my problem. I replied, the words feeling cold but true. I can't believe you're doing this over me going out, she raged, her face blotchy. I'm doing this because you said you don't need to respect basic boundaries. And you were right. You don't. Not in your own place. Update 2. Wednesday, the extinction burst was magnificent. After Monday's pickup, I thought it was over. Changed my door code. A smart lock for the win. Figured she'd crash with Chloe and move on. Nope. Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. I'm getting ready for work when I hear commotion outside. I look out the window, and sure enough, there's a cop car. Ashley's there with 2 officers, gesturing wildly at my building. I went down to meet them, already knowing what this was about. Officer, one of them began, this young lady says she's been illegally evicted from this residence. I see, I said, calm as a lake. Officer, I own this apartment. Here's the deed on my phone. She's never been on any lease or legal document. Ma'am, the officer turned to Ashley. Do you have any proof of residency? Lease? Mail with this address. Ashley stammered. I changed my address to here. Check the system. When? Like last month. She'd been living here for 8 months and only changed her address last month. Even the cops looked skeptical. She was a guest who stayed over frequently. I clarified. We broke up. I asked her to leave. Officer 2 interjected. Do you have any documentation of a landlord-tenant relationship? Ashley proudly showed them the Venmo payments. The cops literally zoomed in on the notes. Officer, he said, pointing to the screen. These say pizza money and for wine and Netflix. This isn't rent. But I lived there. Ashley protested, her voice rising. Ma'am, staying somewhere doesn't automatically give you tenant rights. Without documentation, this is a civil matter at best. They left. Ashley stomped off, screaming about lawyers. But Tuesday afternoon is when she went nuclear. I got a call from my building management. Someone had reported suspicious activity in my unit. Said they saw multiple people coming and going at all hours and suspected I was running an Airbnb illegally. Building manager, we need to investigate this complaint. Sure, I said, completely unconcerned. Here's my ring footage from the last month, showing it's just me and my now ex-girlfriend. Also, here's her social media showing she's trying to get back at me. The building manager reviewed everything, saw it was absolute BS, and actually gave me a heads up. Just so you know, she also tried to convince the front desk she still lived here. We had to ban her from the property. Sweet. Tuesday night, it escalated further. She created a TikTok, a whole-ass TikTok, about being homeless because her ex is a controlling narcissist. It went mini-viral in our city, 50K views overnight. But the comments weren't what she expected. Girl, why didn't you have your name on anything after 8 months? No lease, no mail? Sounds like you were a guest who overstayed. Maybe don't come home at 5 a.m. if you want housing security. Team landlord on this one. She dirty deleted it by Wednesday morning. Then came the final boss move. Wednesday afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. This is Roger Stevens, attorney at law. I represent Miss Ashley Walsh in the matter of her illegal eviction. Please contact me immediately to discuss resolution. I forwarded it to Sarah, my property lawyer ex. She called me, laughing. David, I know Roger Stevens. He's a personal injury lawyer who advertises on bus stops. Did a quick search. He's never handled a housing case in his life. Should I respond? I asked, a smirk playing on my lips. I'll handle it. Pro bono. This will be fun. She sent a beautiful, scathing response outlining that no landlord-tenant relationship existed. No lease, no documentation, no formal agreement. Ashley was a licensee at best whose license was revoked. The apartment was my separate property. Any further harassment would result in a restraining order. Within 2 hours, the unknown number texted back. Upon review, we will not be pursuing this matter. Ashley's mom, Brenda, called me directly after that. Different tone entirely. David, I just found out the whole story. Ashley told me you two had a lease together. We didn't. I see that now. She also failed to mention the coming home at dawn issue. I'm sorry. She's staying with me now, and we're going to have some serious conversations about responsibility. The first reasonable thing anyone in that family had said. Update 3. Friday, just when I thought it was dying down, Ashley pulled the ultimate entitled move. Thursday was quiet. Too quiet. I should have known she was planning something. Friday morning, I woke up to 47 missed calls. Not from Ashley, but from my credit card company. Sir, we're calling about unusual activity on your account. Did you authorize a $3,200 purchase at luxandbags.com? My blood went cold. I checked my credit card app. 5 luxury purchases in the last 12 hours. Designer bags, shoes, jewelry, almost $8,000 total. That's when it hit me. She'd had my credit card info saved on her laptop for when she'd order food for us. Never removed it. I immediately called the fraud department. Had everything frozen and disputed. Then I texted her. Using my credit card is fraud. Return everything or I'm filing a police report. Ashley's reply came quickly. I don't know what you're talking about. The orders went to Chloe's address where you're staying. I shot back. Prove it was me. Okay. I filed the police report. Gave them screenshots of her basically admitting it. The shipping addresses. The timeline. Orders started right after her fake lawyer backed down. But here's the beautiful, terrifying part. Chloe's apartment complex has package lockers with cameras. My credit card company's fraud department subpoenaed the footage as part of their investigation. I got a call from the detective Friday afternoon. Sir, we have footage of Miss Walsh collecting multiple packages from the delivery locker. We also have her on camera opening them in the lobby and taking photos with the merchandise. She'd been flexing her fraud purchases on Instagram. Private account, but Brooke, one of her squad, who apparently had a flicker of morals, sent me screenshots. Ashley posing with gifts from a new friend who appreciates me. Detective, I heard myself say, this is felony fraud. Over $5,000. Indeed, he confirmed. We'll be arresting Miss Walsh today. 2 hours later, Ashley called from the police station. Her voice was raw, desperate. David, I need you to drop the charges. This is insane. Over some stupid purchases. I was going to pay you back. When? I asked, my voice flat. After you got a lease? Oh, wait. This will ruin my life. I'll have a record, she wailed. You should have thought about that before committing credit card fraud. You're seriously going to let me go to jail over this? I'm seriously going to let you face consequences for your actions? Novel concept, I know. Her mom called next, begging. Then Chloe, then random numbers I assumed were other friends. All blocked. But the best part? Remember her TikTok that went mini viral? Someone found it and made a response video with her mugshot. POV, you commit fraud because your ex asked you to text when you'll be home. 2.3 million views and climbing. Final update. 2 weeks later, the conclusion to this saga is chef's kiss perfect. So, Ashley got charged with felony fraud. Her parents hired a decent lawyer who got it pleaded down to a misdemeanor with restitution and probation. She had to pay back the $8,000. Her parents fronted it, plus court fees. But the real fallout came from unexpected places. Remember how she was staying with Chloe? Well, Chloe's landlord saw the arrest report. Small community, word travels. Turns out Chloe's lease had a clause about no additional occupants for more than 7 consecutive days without approval, and something about criminal activity being grounds for eviction. Chloe, terrified of losing her own apartment, kicked Ashley out. Ashley tried Brooke next. Brooke's roommate said, "Absolutely not. Who wants to live with someone who commits credit card fraud? Olivia?" She left with her boyfriend, who said, "Hell no." She ended up back with her parents in their suburb, 45 minutes away. But it gets better. Ashley worked at this trendy marketing firm downtown. Image was everything there. Her boss found out about the arrest. Remember the viral TikTok response? Yeah, her coworkers saw it. They didn't fire her outright, but suddenly she was not a good fit for client-facing roles. Moved to data entry, which she quit after 3 days. But here's the part that still makes me laugh. Last week, I'm at the grocery store and run into Ryan, this guy from our friend group who'd always had a thing for Ashley. He stops me. "Dude, David, I'm sorry about everything that went down," Ryan said, looking genuinely uncomfortable. "Thanks, man. It is what it is." Yeah, he paused. "I actually asked her out last month, and she said she wasn't ready to date because she was focusing on her independence. When last month, I asked, my eyebrows raising. Like the week before you, well, you know. So, while we were still living together, she was telling other guys we'd been broken up for months, and she was just crashing there temporarily because of lease issues with her old place." The lies, man. The layers of lies. Current status? She's living with her parents at 28, which she used to mock other people for. Lost her friend group when they realized she'd been lying to everyone. Has a criminal record that shows up on background checks. Can't get approved for apartments because of said record. Working retail at a mall near her parents' house. Still posts about toxic exes, but has like 12 followers now. Meanwhile, I repainted the apartment, and it's never looked better. Started dating this sweet woman from my rock climbing gym, who, gasp, texts when she'll be late. Got a promotion at work. Turns out being well-rested improves performance. I learned to install deadbolts and security cameras like a pro. And I have a great story for parties. The other night, Michael and I were having beers, and he asked if I felt bad about how everything went down. She said I wasn't her father and didn't need a curfew. I told him, taking a long sip. She was right. I'm not her father. I don't have to house someone who doesn't respect basic boundaries. "What was even on the note you never said?" he asked. "Oh, just that she was right about me not being her father. I'm her landlord, and her stuff would be available for pickup. That's it." Sometimes the simplest messages hit the hardest. Last I heard through the grapevine, she tells people I manipulated the system to make her homeless. Not that she refused basic communication. Mocked reasonable requests. Committed credit card fraud. Lied to everyone about our relationship status. Expected to live rent-free with zero responsibilities. Accountability is kryptonite to people like Ashley. The funniest part? Her Instagram bio used to say, "Independent woman." Now it says, "Everything happens for a reason." Yeah, the reason is consequences, babe. This whole saga still feels surreal. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What would you have done in my shoes? Was my reaction justified, or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, folks, you're not required to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. If someone shows you they don't respect you or your home, believe them the first time. Also, always use proper lease agreements and cameras. Lots of cameras.